Hey guys, Doug Giles here, Little Warriors, Mamacita, and Wildmen. Let's talk about fighting. Yeah, that sounds like a nice little topic, doesn't it, evangelical? Let's talk about fighting for, let's see, what can we fight for? How about freedom? What about family? What about our faith? Yeah, let's get scrappy over some significant issues. Before I go into my screed today, Churchill said in regards to fighting, he said, if you will not fight for the right when you can easily win without bloodshed, if you will not fight when your victory will be sure, you may come to the moment when you will have to fight with all the odds stacked against you and only a precarious chance of survival. Now, advancing the biblical worldview, little Christian, in this increasingly liberal and secular society is going to be more difficult for you to do that than trying to convince Kevin Spacey to stop having slumber parties with teenage boys. Establishing biblical progress and preserving classic Americana has always, I said always, my children, been difficult. And Christ forewarned us that we would be opposed when we try to implement his goodwill in this sin-cursed earth. We should, therefore, expect this thing called conflict. We should, in short, expect to clash. Do you get it, Mr. Passive Dreamer? Hey, Mr. Dreamer, you awake? Political and ecclesiastical and societal progress demands a willingness to confront. Hey, Christian, in this nation, you better fight for your right to party, or you ain't going to get it. To enjoy the God-given gifts of freedom, family, and our faith, you got to stand up for your rights. Hello, Queequag, you listening? There must be an acceptance of the clash attitude, as well as the acquisition of this thing called God's fortitude to be properly contrary when collision is necessary. The propagation and the implementation of a Christian worldview by our fathers and our founders is the reason why we have this nation, this incredible nation that we have here in the good old United States of America. Our national rise came about by a colossal collision of Christian minds with bad government and abracadabra, poof, mama, the United States of America, the most incredible country known to mankind, was created. It was born. And we are the fruit of righteous, hard-fought opposition. Can you dig that? Now, dissent, for biblical reasons, has never been a cakewalk. Political correctness and its subsequent bullying have been around since a third of the angels fell. Our Christian forefathers resisted being pressured into the quote-unquote sense that political correctness makes. They went against the odds that favored conformity, stupidity, and superstition. Imagine that. Yeah, they decided rather to intimidate the intimidators. Our spiritual forefathers, the founders and the framers of this great land, were not overwhelmed by the power of the British oppressive consensus. And we owe a lot to proper and religious political dissidents. Our country would not exist, and you know what else? Seinfeld would never have made it past its first season if someone hadn't argued for it and fought for it. The greatest way to pay off the debt we owe our Christian forefathers and at the same time leave a legacy to our own progeny is to continue to stand up and speak out when truth and common sense screams at us to do so. So, why do men, what do those bad guys, those rascals in the sassy secular states of America, why do bad men prosper in the U.S.? Here's who I blame. I blame the non-clashing good guy. Yes, the sweetie, the little Mr. Rogers, the pusillanimous politically correct coward who trembles before the tyrannical idol of the opinion police. I blame him for the moral rot that's squelching all good deeds and creeds. I blame the quote-unquote good man and the quote-unquote good woman who will not speak out or take action when the times demand it. If we want to right America's wrongs, we're going to have to crucify our need to be liked by the thought police. The best way to do this is to live ever mindful that one day God, not the media, not CNN, not Anderson Cooper, not Hollywood, not liberal judges, not self-serving politicians, yes, the Lord God Almighty, He's going to judge us for what we did for Him and His will while we schlepped this third rock from the sun. Ridding ourselves of the need to be liked and our fear of man will help us to preserve our nation's freedom, the traditional family, our great faith and flag, and that for which it stands. Hey, this is Doug Giles. You're listening to Warriors and Wildmen. Why haven't you subscribed to us yet? We're lonely. Please follow us. Join those who've listened to over, 470,000 downloads of our podcast. Woohoo! Hey, another thing, aside from following us over on Facebook and Warriors and Wildmen, you got to go over to this website called Amazon. Have you ever heard of it? Yeah. It's called Amazon, and they have lots of books. And I got a new book that just came out, and OMG, man, it was only out for 12 hours, and it hit number 1 on Amazon. The title, Rules for Radical Christians. Subtitle, 10 Biblical Disciplines for Influential Believers. Do you want to be an influential believer? Do you want to leave a mark on this planet? I'm talking about a deep scar on Satan's haggard backside. Then step away from the sheeple, man. Step away from the pack and check out Rules for Radical Christians. 10 biblical disciplines. Can you say disciplines? For influential believers. Doug Giles, Warriors and Wildmen, Rules for Radicals over at Amazon. Rules for Radical Christians, rather, over on Amazon.com. Get it. And always, my babies, stay rowdy.